Hello and welcome back to Football Manager 2019 with Burton Albion. We are at the end of the January transfer window. I think it's still open for a couple of more days. We're on the 29th of January. Since the last episode, we've played a number of games and we haven't scored a huge amount of goals, which is why we've dropped down to third. But before we get into that, let's discuss the transfer business that happened. We have signed one player and sold 6 permanently. We're going to start with a player that I've signed, and it is 25-year-old Canadian midfielder David Norman. I say Canadian because he has one Canada cap, but he is also, I believe, part Scottish. There you go, he's part Scottish, so that means he only gets paid a small amount of money. He's only 2-star current ability, but he has been brought in as an intentional backup because we have sold a couple of midfielders. As for players sold, we're going to go in ascending order. So the cheapest one first. Marvin Sordell has left the club on a free transfer. He was out of contract at the end of the season anyway. Basically, just wanted him off the wage bill at this point. For £10,000, AFC Wimbledon have managed to pick up Jacob Maddox, a player who never kicked a ball for us, who spent a season out on loan at Partick Thistle, playing 21 games, scoring 1 goal, but let's face it, he was never going to play for us, so £10,000 is better than nothing. For £19,500, 24-year-old English goalkeeper Tay Ashby-Hammond has signed for Oldham. Again, another player who was never really going to break it into the first team. I don't think he's a bad goalkeeper, but I think he was just nowhere near as good as Curtis Anderson. We do have a bit of a problem now, though. We only have one permanent goalkeeper on the books, and he's not great. He's okay, he's just not the best. For £46,000, Daniel Batty has left the club and signed for Lincoln they're also in the Championship. Yep, that is correct, they are in the Championship. A player who I don't think he actually played for us this season. He did a job for us over the time that he was here. He was here for 3 years, apparently. I think it's probably more of 2 years. In the first season, free transfer, 23 games, 1 goal, 4 assists. He had a very good season, but from that point on, we managed to bring in like the Afonso Sousas and the Jonas Davids and players like that, where he was just never going to get the opportunity. Now, this one was a bit of a difficult decision. Mitch Clark, who has played 61 games for us, scoring 4 goals as well. Obviously, we had him on loan from Aston Villa for a season, then we signed him after that. He is signed for Lincoln for £150,000, I believe. 140 going up to 150, yeah. So, the time we've had him here, he had a couple of very good seasons. Obviously, the 2022-2023 season, he played the most football for us, 27 games. We actually had him on loan, playing 13 games, then signed him at the end of the season. I kind of didn't want to sell him because he's a very useful player to have, but I think in terms of trying to get the most money out of him, now is the right time to sell him. And we've got players who are in on loan who can play the positions that he currently covers. So I'm not too concerned about him leaving the squad. I am a bit concerned that he was kind of one of the mainstays of our team since the start of when we joined Burton. The final player to leave is Sean Longstaff, £850,000 to Birmingham, potentially rising to £1 million. It's worrying that a team in the league below us can afford to spend more money than we can, and I don't understand that. Sean Longstaff has left the club, signed from Newcastle on a free transfer. He was here for 2.5 seasons, 68 games, 9 goals. Another one of those players that I'm kind of a bit disappointed that he's left. He's played 13 games this season, but he cannot get into the squad with Jonas David there. Basically, it's him and Jonas David battling out for that Segundo Volante role, and let's face it, Jonas David is a much better footballer. 5 loan deals to talk about as well very quickly. Dan Giamatti has gone on loan to Bromley. Oliver Enver has gone up north to Fylde. Ashley Eastwood has gone out on loan to Luton. They are paying some of his wages as well. He's out of contract at the end of the season, so it's probably the last we've seen of Ashley Easton. Will Greenidge has gone on loan to Colchester, but will never kick a ball for them. And utility man Paul Morris has gone on loan to Oxford and subsequently pulled his knee ligament, so he's now out for 2 weeks. A transfer that didn't happen, and in a way I'm glad, is Jonas David. Espanyol made a bid for David. It was about £12 million, I think, in total. I could not turn that money down. That could be reinvested over and over again in this club, so I had to accept that. He rejected the contract. He did not want to go to Espanyol, so Jonas David is still here. He does want a new contract, so maybe we do that. He wants a very big contract that we can't afford. Well, maybe we don't do that. Another player who I was expecting to leave, or at least have some interest, was Afonso Sousa. Nothing. Not a sniff. Nobody wanted Sousa at all. I think his injury probably did contribute to that, but I'm very glad. It means Jonas David and Afonso Sousa, arguably our two best players, will be here until the end of the season, and hopefully we get promoted, and then they stay here a little bit longer. That would be ideal. Since the last episode then, we kicked off against Millwall in the FA Cup third round, and it was a 2-0 victory. Dean and Melvin Bard with the goals for us. Bobby Duncan gets sent off for Millwall. He was only on the pitch for about 4 minutes until he got sent off. We destroyed Millwall, 22 shots to their 9, 10 on target, 5 for them, 66% possession. Nice, easy victory. Speaking of nice easy victory, against Cardiff, it was 4-0 to Burton Albion. Joe Sparrow, Callum Gribben, Melvin Bard once again, and Pierre Alimbe with the goals for us. 20 shots, 8 on target as well. Look at those match ratings, and now it's all fallen apart. Against Blackburn, we lose 2-0. Ryan Bartlett with both the goals for Blackburn. We are not scoring goals now. This is the first of 3 games where we don't score any goals. You can guess what the results are going to be. Against Fulham, it was a 1-0 defeat. Lucas Vazquez with the only goal of the game on 42 minutes. Dominic Koha gets sent off on the 82nd minute, but once again, we can't score a goal. Only 8 shots, 2 on target in this match. And then up against Brentford in the FA Cup fourth round, it was a 0-0 draw, 20 shots, just 2 on target. I decided to give Emmanuel Roux a run out in this game. He played the first half, got a 6.4, so we didn't play the second half. It does mean today is going to be a bit of a sandwich episode. It is going to be Leeds and it is going to be Bristol City, but there will be this little Brentford match in the middle, which I will tell you the result of, but I won't show you the game. Despite the fact that we haven't won for the last 2 league games, we're still in and about the leaders. We are joint on 52 points with Fulham, who are down in 4th place, but our goal difference is better. 2 points behind Bristol City, 3 points behind Burnley, so it is definitely not out of the question. We just need to start learning to win games again. It is transfer deadline day and we have done a little bit of business already. Johnson Abue from ASEC Mimosas, Mimosas, in the Ivory Coast has signed for £150,000. He's only on a £3,000 a week contract, so he is unable to play for us currently. But I've brought him in basically to be a deep-lying playmaker on support. I think he's probably got the ability to do it, maybe his off-the-ball in anticipation. Need to be increased work rate and teamwork as well, obviously, is another thing that's fairly low, but I think he's probably going to be a very good player for the future. This is interesting to me. Callum Gribben bid from Southampton, so I'm thinking I'm okay with selling Callum. I'm okay with selling Callum Gribben. He is arguably one of our best players if we just do that. He's better than Sousa and Sparrow. We don't have a third choice attacking midfielder, so if he does go, we are going to have a little mad scramble to try and pick somebody up. I'm going to try this, and if it prices them out, fine. If they go for it, fine. So 10 million, 1.4 after some months, and a 25% sell-on. They just completely ignored it. That's fine. Looks like Callum might be here to stay. Right, Southampton have come in with a non-negotiable bid, which is only £6.75 million. We are rejecting that, Southampton. I'm sorry, but that is not good enough. The transfer deadline has passed, and we are still down there, 22nd place in terms of spending power. Fulham nearly £1 million a week. They are nearly 10 times, I say nearly, they're probably, 8 times more powerful in terms of spending power than us. That is ridiculous, and we're sat currently in 3rd place in the table. Right, what we're going to do with this episode, as I've realised it has gone on for very long already and we've not even played our first game. The Leeds and the Brentford game in the Cup, I'm going to only show you the goals. I'm not going to show you the full match, and then we're going to do a full live comm for the Bristol City match, which obviously is the much more important game. So, I'm just going to jump straight into the match, and hopefully it will be a goal for the team wearing yellow. Unfortunately, there were no goals in the first half. Melvin Bard came closest for us, but look at this, 10 shots, 2 on target. Why can we not get shots on target all of a sudden? In the 88th minute, Leeds have won a penalty. It is still 0-0. I could just see this happening as well. Green steps up against Anderson and Green puts it into the back of the net. And we have been robbed. Absolutely robbed in this game. We have been all over them. We've not had a huge amount of decent chances, but 16 shots. This has been, truly, we've been FM'd in this match. Full time then, and we do lose 1-0 to Leeds, and it is our 4th game in a row where we haven't scored. That is appalling. That result then luckily keeps us in third place. What did Fulham do? They lost 1-0 to Blackburn. Bristol City now go top of the table on 57 points. Burnley appeared to have lost their game as well. I don't even know when Burnley played. Was it yesterday? They lost 2-1 to Sheffield United. So yeah, Bristol City beating Hull, Burnley losing means that Bristol City now go 2 points clear at the top of the table, and they are our next opponents in the league. Not exactly the piece of news that you want to see. Goal-shy Burton set new record. Match number 2 of the episode then, the FA Cup 4th round replay against Brentford. If we win, it'll set up a 5th round tie against our feeder club Chelsea, who I think we went out to last time. I've gone for a very rotated side in this match, so I wouldn't be surprised if we win about 6-0. 26.5 minutes in and we are 1-0 down to Brentford. Felipe Augusto with this goal from the corner. Not a good start. Half time it is 1-0 and we've had 0 shots on target out of our 3 in total. We are playing pretty badly at the moment. 70 minutes in and it is now 2-0 to Brentford. Zhang Han with the goal. It was a free kick whipped in by Johan Barbet. It's not Johan Barbet, sorry. Lodiero. Barbet's head flicked on Zhang at the back post. Unmarked, makes it 2-0. Full time then, and it is a 2-0 defeat. It is 5 games in a row without a single goal. This match, we didn't even have a single highlight in it. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this Bristol City game. Here we go then, up against Bristol City, who are now top of the table after their victory against Hull, and Sheffield. Burnley lost to Sheffield United, I think is what happened. We really do need to score a goal. To be honest, I'd happily lose 2-1 as long as we scored a goal, because this goal drought is going to massively affect our goal difference and basically our chance of ever getting any form of promotion chance. The starting lineup we are going to go for is fairly standard. In goal will be Curtis Anderson, Jason McCarthy will be the right back, Dean, and Pierre Elimbe will be the 2 central defenders. Elimbe is slightly injured. He's out for 2 more days with a groin strain, but I don't have any other central defenders who are currently fit. Omar Diallo he's currently injured. He's coming back to training tomorrow, so maybe Diallo should play. Not recommended to be selected, so I'm not going to play Diallo. Craig McLeish isn't a centre-back. He also played in the last match, so I don't really want to play him either. Charles Kwame is going to be the left-back today, because Melvin Bard played in the last match, is a little bit tired. Kwame's also a bit tired. Jonas David and Oliver Skipp are the 2 central midfielders who missed the Brentford game. Samuel Shoshoa, Afonso Sousa and Callum Gribben. I always put these 2 the wrong way around. They should be that way around. Gribben should be in the middle. And Emmanuel Roux will be the striker today because he is one of our few strikers who are actually training well. You'll see here, Khalifa Diop 6.95. Neil Williams on a 7.3 training as well. Roux 9.4. So I'm going to reward him for actually doing well in training. Bristol City playing a 4-4-2 then. They've got a C. Gribben as well. I want to see who this C. Gribben guy is. I need to quickly skip through these things and hopefully... that's our Callum Gribben. If they've got a Callum Gribben, I'm going to be very annoyed. It's Carl Gribben. He's flipping ridiculous and on loan from Burnley. I just hope that this match is a lot more exciting than the last 2 matches. I'm glad that I didn't show you the Leeds and the Brentford games as full matches because nothing really happened in them, apart from we conceded some goals in terrible, terrible fashions. McCarthy's throw finds Jonas David. Afonso Sousa. McCarthy's there if he needs him. David uses McCarthy, runs into the area. Afonso Sousa goes for goal, smashes it into the bottom corner. Our first goal in 6 games, and it comes from the Portugueseman, Afonso Sousa. I don't know whether that's what a man of Portuguese descent is called, a Portugueseman, but that's what I'm calling him. We're 1-0 up against table-topping Bristol City. Let's not throw this away now. Literally doesn't mean anything happens in the table apart from Burnley go ahead of Bristol. We do close the gap. On second place, Fulham must be losing their game as they are 3 points behind us now. McCarthy to Jonas David again. Afonso Sousa goes for goal again and this time hits it high and wide of the post. Cunningham with a free kick for Bristol. O'Dowda runs forward into our half, all the way across to Clark, who has an injury. Crosses in and Didiu is there. Anderson apparently saved it. Didiu, that's probably not his name, was the top scorer in the league last season. Brownhill's corner, back to Clark, goes for goal, and Fletcher was offside apparently. It took a deflection anyway, so nothing was ever going to come of it. Half time then at Ashton Gate, and we are 1-0 to the good. It's not been a particularly exciting game, but we do have that solitary goal, which is keeping us in the lead at the moment. I'm still very concerned about our strikers. Rue is on a 6.5, and I don't think he's had a shot yet, or if he has, none of them have been good enough to actually show on camera. Not a lot is happening in the second half. We're going to do Neil Williams for Emmanuel Rue. Khalifa Diop, I want to bring him on. You know what? Diop is going to play as that attacking midfielder on the right-hand side for Shoshoa. So far, we've kept Bristol City quiet. They've had 4 shots and not a single one on target, so I think we're doing our job. It would be nice to have more than just 3 shots on target for ourselves, though. Well, there is 40 seconds left to play, and hopefully it is going to just end and nothing really happens. Unless we get something from this. This will be nice. Callum Gribben with the ball running down the right-hand side. 25 seconds to play. Crosses in. Neil Williams is there, and it is a great save from former Southampton goalkeeper Harry Lewis. Could have been 2-0. It was a decent effort from Williams. The highlight is carrying on, but I'm hoping this is because it's the final highlight of the match. Ball over the top. Kwame heads forward. Skip lumps it upfield. The full-time whistle goes. We score our first goal in 6. We get our first win in 6 as well. And we stay in 3rd in the table. So at the end of this bit of a weird episode, if I'm perfectly honest, we do stay in 3rd place in the table. We finally scored a goal. It's been the first time in a very long time. We are still 2 points behind Bristol City, 3 points behind Burnley. We are very much in the chase. Blackburn have moved up now into 4th place. What happened to Fulham? Fulham lost to Leeds. Okay, Blackburn have moved up because they beat Cardiff. Middlesbrough have also moved up as well. It is getting very tight in the top 6, and I don't like the look of it. Next episode, hopefully, we'll be back to normal, and we are going to have 2 away matches. First up against Fleetwood, and then secondly away to Portsmouth at Fratton Park. Luckily, we don't have to play Chelsea because we did lose to Brentford, which is good. So there's only going to be 3 matches in between episodes. Sheffield United, Ipswich and Preston. And if you look at the league positions, they're all fairly low down. Fleetwood and Portsmouth also fairly low down. So in theory, by the end of next episode, we should have 5 more victories. That's the goal. That's really what we need. Ideally, at least 5 more goals as well. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Football Manager 2019 with Burton Albion. If you did enjoy, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time.